Hello my lards and lads, in this video we will be going over the evolution of the M4 HPA build.
So ever since 2018 up until 2021, we've been improving our design with different colors, different materials, different strengths, everything. And I'm going to tell you guys from 2018 all the way to 2021 what we've been doing. Going back to one of the oldest pieces I have, it's this little rear air nozzle. So this would go right here in the gearbox. You can see it's got a really small hole all the way through. This was very inefficient. I don't know if it was the way I was printing it, but it also wouldn't work with a lot of things that I had. So I just threw this aside. And the reason why a lot of things here don't have as much generations in the 2018 years is because I threw most of them away at some point. This is another part of the Kubo 1000T engine which also didn't work for me, but for me at this point I didn't know anything. So I slowly got better and better and figured out some stuff. Kind of like when I printed with this filament from JiNoS for the first time, I noticed that the air gaps were a lot less. I don't know if it was because I was printing hotter or using an actual good filament, because at the time I was only paying $12 for filament. Even though things have risen now, luckily JiNoS just came through and really helped me out with these projects. PETG was a big step up because it's the first material that we've changed from PLA. And it was easier to print because the nozzle didn't have to be exactly closer, whereas PLA you have to be more exact about where the nozzle is. So I had a lot more tolerances here and there, and I slowly got comfortable with messing with the other parts of the airsoft engine, the HPA engine. So after that, when we finally got back to PLA, we started messing with more stuff. So after being so comfortable with JiNoS's PETG, we actually got comfortable with PLA. And we started taking this is the entire engine right here, by the way. You got your front cap, you got the middle, this is kind of like a limiter actually. This is the nozzle itself, the most important. And then you got something else which is also very important. In the back is your cover, air. This is really very important actually as well. What you can see here is that we've taken these two pieces and merged them into one. This way we were a lot more comfortable. You see that the black is shorter, which gave us more reach for the nozzle action. So moving on from there, we actually got to work with different ends over here. This one was too weak, so hopefully from here you guys can tell the differences that were made. The nozzle is a little bit shorter now from its actual length. This meat down here is made shorter. That way we can have a longer travel so that the piston can go, close the hop-up chamber, and shoot all the air with max compression. And after that, I was like, well, we've done this much, might as well try to get a 3D printed gearbox. We made it, but the inside, I'm going to show you right now, the reason why we didn't use it was a little too cozy. It was exactly for like an AEG, so I didn't want to go and reprint this because this did take a lot of time to print. I didn't really do well in the Cura to pretty much make supports for this. Here is the last thing that the auto level 3D printer printed before I put it away. It failed and it just kept failing. I believe it's just a micro switch, but that's not what this video is about. I thought I'd show you guys this anyway because fails do still happen. So just make sure you guys work on your printers if anything goes wrong ahead of time. Okay, and speaking of keeping your printer clean and accurate, pretty much your belt's nice and tightened, is because when you're making things like this, which is an adapter 3D printed, not a very good idea, but just to test size and order the correct thing from online, it's definitely worth it. So you can see here, we actually made this one thicker than this version a little bit to make the walls exact, to have the best compression pretty much. And this was the newest design of the rear. And the reason why we went back to one rubber is because we noticed we weren't getting as much improvements with two. So we just left it at this. This worked great. And this is the last piece of improvement that we've ever done. And I'm going to show you guys that right now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, from 2018 all the way to present day, this is the gearbox we have. This is where we are at. So before, you guys would see the pneumatic valve at this end leading air from here all the way to here, which would leave a PSI loss, and you just have more volume at a lower PSI pretty much. But now we have the pneumatic valve here, this being pressurized the entire time, And this is the only place where the air would open close for a pneumatic valve. So the good thing about this is that all the air is in here. Nothing is pretty much losing PSI here. But the bad thing is that this did not shoot how I wanted it to. This air chamber in here is way too small to give out the amount of air that I want in the time that I want. So I can make the valve open and close longer, faster, but this does not fulfill it. So till the time that I redo this design, which this took a while itself, so this did not come out how I was expecting it. I already tested it at full PSI of air, and it's just not letting enough air through this gearbox right here. Although we're having a lot less air loss, it's still not enough. And for the time that I have to open and close this valve, this thing pretty much just sounds like a semi-auto gun, and we're losing it in translation between here and the plastic here. So until this thing gets another redo or something, this is just gonna stay in the form of where the pneumatic valve was connected from here and shooting. Because even then we were getting 300 feet per second, which is not good, but let's say it's an indoor field, then we are successful. But this did not work, and this design has taken a lot longer than I thought, a lot longer than I hoped. But I'm glad that we get to finish on a note where this was what we wanted to do, this was what we wanted to build. It just didn't get perfected. Now, whether that will come later or not, we're going to find out later. But till then, we are going to be working on that super cool Ferrari 488 wheel. We are still working with JiNoS a lot. We have their gray filament. We have a lot of other colors stored away right there. And what's going to happen in the future is we're probably going to continue some sim racing stuff, and then eventually maybe some other different projects, something new, just to not bore you guys out. But we are going to be coming back to airsoft at some point. Maybe it won't be HPA, maybe it'll just be external stuff again or a conversion kit, but regardless, it's going to be with you guys and it's going to be with JiNoS. So see you guys then. Thanks for watching.